What's going on, everybody? We're back once again with another edition of Wrestling Republic's daily broadcast. It is Tuesday, November 28th. We are fresh on the heels of a Nashville Raw. Shout out Nashville. I'm a huge fan of that city. I've always had fun there. Speaking of fun there, if you didn't think the Punk thing was real, it is now. CM Punk is back in the WWE. Not only that, he's back on Monday Night Raw. This was electric. The show was electric. The crowd was electric. Oh, yeah, and by the way, we had the return of Randy Orton. We had a lot of good wrestling. And if we're going to talk about a lot of good wrestling, I'm going to need a sweet crew to roll with on this fine Tuesday afternoon in California for me. But before I introduce him, let me also mention that I got to introduce him, I guess. Wow, I did whiff that line. See, Chaos, it's every Tuesday, dude. I whiff it on Tuesday. Sorry, I just gave that away too. But let's head to Florida. But the pride of New Jersey, Bret Sternberg, thank you for joining us today. How excited are you about last night's Raw?
That was a whirlwind of an introduction. Hello, everyone. Hello, everyone.
I had it.
Hope everyone's having a great week so far. It's a little cold down in Florida, unfortunately, to say that. But everything's great. I have a good Raw to talk about, to be honest with you, for once in the past few weeks.
Exactly. I couldn't be more excited myself. I'm laughing at myself still. Because at least the first time I did this, it was just a pure whiff. And so it was comedic. It was funny. This time I blinked out of contact. I have a real excuse. I'm sitting there. I'm like, I'm going to have one eye. No, I worked it back into place, but that's never good. Despite that, though, we do have a good friend of mine, the host of Take It to the Table, all the way out in Wales. Chaos, good to see you as always. Back-to-back days.
Yes, back to back. What's good? What's good? I'm happy to be here. Yeah, he was doing so well, and you just like, where's he going? Where's he going? Oh, he's gone. He's gone. He's over there. But no, it's all good. Yeah, can't wait to talk about Raw. As you can see, I am dressed and ready for this glorious occasion, and yeah, I can't wait to get into this.
100%, 100%. I really was rolling there, and it's these dry California conditions. It's fire season out here, and I'm just like, eyes are killing me. Contact lenses, it's the worst. We got a few comments here, though. Our good friend Bobby Bettino, as always, good to see you, Bobby.
Good.
Hello, guys. And then we've also got a hello from Cool Gamer. Thank you for always tuning in, Cool Gamer, as well. Good to have you, as always. Let's get into our first topic of the day, which is the return of the Viper. That promo was nothing short of delightful. What more could you really ask for, Bret? I'm going to toss it to you first. Let's talk about the promo, and then we'll get into the Dom match. But man, was that initial promo cool. And on top of that, I loved stopping to sign the action figure for the kid. That's what pro wrestling's about. That was one of my favorite Randy Orton moments ever, because it was kind of like the least Viper thing he's ever done.
Well, he's super babyface right now, which is very weird. So it's cool to see him interact with the crowd and the fans in the way that he's doing, and coming out so happy because this is like one of his last rides. I don't know if that's what he's considering it as, but it might be. So I think that he's just taking everything in at this point. Yeah, he's playing himself, to be completely honest with you, which is a great guy. He's a great guy in person if you know him outside of the business, and he's just transferring that over to wrestling now. But at the same time, whenever there is a storyline that comes down the road, which is going to be pretty soon, I believe that he is going to turn and break people's hearts. I'm sorry. It's happened every time with Randy, and it's going to happen again. But that promo was unbelievable. And when Rhea Ripley came out and he laid that line on her, "Daddy's home," it says it all. It was the cake right there. He nailed it.
Absolutely. And to set up the match itself was fun. I mean, I felt like obviously Dom was a bit of like a lamb out to slaughter at that point, right? Like, I mean, Dom was in a tough spot against this version of Randy Orton in particular at the moment. Do you think, though, this is leading maybe something more like a rivalry with Priest or even Finn Balor for Randy? What is his next kind of on the way to the pay-per-view?
I thought it should have been them last night. One of them. I think it should have been one of them last night. I think they're just throwing like you said, the sheep out to the lion,
Slaughter.
and the lion's going to slaughter it. Literally. So that's it. It's pretty much like we knew what was going to happen. I just wish we got a great match as well. It was a good match, but like I
Yeah.
wish it was like competitive because it obviously wasn't. And then
Uh,
we Jelly Roll on the side interfering,
That was hilarious to me.
which was cool, great. Knocked JT McDonough right on his butt, but at the same time, it's like, is this really adding to the match? I want it was great. It was nostalgic Randy Orton. I loved it, and I'm not taking anything away from it. I just want something really cool from him coming down like the next few months.
I think so too. And I think Priest, to get the best out of Damian Priest, considering he's carrying the Money in the Bank, is the best option.
If he gets the belt.
See, I don't even think he needs to get the belt yet. I think he's got to be a rivalry on the way to Priest. Maybe even the classic Orton. Remember, Orton famously defeated Rollins the night he pulled the heist of the century.
That's true.
Right? And so that would be kind of a funny little tidbit to add to Randy Orton's Hall of Fame resume, as he's twice beaten guys on the night that they cashed in.
Yeah.
Right. I don't know. That's neither here nor there. Chaos, what did you think of the match? What do you think's next for Orton, though, and the Judgment Day as well?
Yeah, well, going back on the promo, I thought it was solid. The guy, he hadn't lost the beat. You wouldn't think that he was gone for a year and a half. I mean, he just was old school Randy Orton, and because he's been gone for so long, you actually miss him. You like, he's one of them guys that is like, he is a great piece of the WWE main roster, and yeah, it was so great to see him. The whole babyface thing is, signing autographs and stuff. It looks like, I don't know if that's a new thing, because I know Cody Rhodes did it as well later, like he took a photo or what. I don't know if they've been told to start signing photos and taking and autographs, doing autographs by ringside now. But either way, it was fun. The segment with Rhea was started as well. What could be the future for Randy Orton? I honestly don't know. I was surprised that they're still doing this babyface thing. I thought he was either going to turn on Jay, Cody, well, just one of those two on the main ones that were carrying him on, especially for Cody to keep him busy until the Rumble. But obviously that's gone to someone else, which we'll speak later. But that's later on. But yeah, no, it was either way. I'm curious, because we've missed him so for a while. I feel energized to be interested in seeing what he does, because no one does it like Randy Orton, and yeah, I'm just curious to see what he does. With the Judgment Day, yeah, I guess you could make Damian Priest have a losing streak, and something that will also build to the fallout with him and Judgment Day, and then they split, and then see where it goes from there. But either way, I'm excited. Solid start to the show, and yeah, can't wait to see what happens next.
100%. And it's funny when you brought up the autograph thing. It reminded me of, I was at golf forever, and after the round, there's always there's scorer's tent where you go sign your scorecard at the end of the round. Then there's usually it's roped off for the players to go back to either the locker room or the practice area, and kids, will hang on the rope and hold up over their hats or whatever have you, and players will sign. It reminded me of kind of that, just leaning over the aisle, seeing that he had the Sharpie and signing it. I didn't feel like a plant, whether it was or not. I don't even want to speculate on that. No,
I think that was his dad's side coming out. That was his dad's side coming out. He's a super dad.
It was very cool, and I loved, my favorite part about it, and this is like a shout out to all athletes that do this. I think it's one of the coolest things, because that kid is not selling that piece of memorabilia. It's not for that. When he asked him his name and he signed it to him, that is one of my favorite things. When pro athletes or celebrities do that, that is one of the coolest things you can do for a kid, because for the rest of his life, then he's got a hero, and he or she, whoever it is, that is, to me, that is one of the classiest moves you can make, because it just makes it that much more personal.
Yeah, it happened to me with Reggie Jackson.
There you go. Absolutely. Yes.
And he's usually not nice to people, and he was nice to me. It was the same example, kind of. But also, I want to point out one other thing that's interactive with the athletes and the fans. I know we need to move on really quick.
No worries.
One thing that's really cool that the fans are starting to do towards heel wrestlers is rip my signs.
Those are
fun. Yeah.
And now you saw JT McDonough and Finn Balor kind of play with the little girl last night, and she had fun with it. It's
Yes.
cool now. It's a cool little aspect that we have going on.
It is. And it's smart too, because what I think adds to the brilliance of that one is if you watch these entrances, right? And it isn't necessarily, they don't necessarily show the sign being ripped every time. It's more of just the personal in-arena experience. It adds to the in-arena experience, which is what I think wrestling is built on. Yes, television is very important, right? And how you perform for the camera and whatnot. But most of the people I know, and I think the three of us could probably attest to this, the first time you got addicted to wrestling was the first time you stepped into an arena and watched a show live, right? That's when you go, okay, this is something special, right? This is different. This is cool. And to add to that experience, I think is just awesome for future generations, right? That's
100%.
key.
100%.
We got a few comments here. We've got Bobby Petito with Randy Orton's promo was great. We totally agree, Bobby. He could wrestle in the Rumble match. I couldn't agree more. Numero on Superfly in the comments, but this might be cruel, but I really want to see Randy Orton RKO Rhea Ripley in old saying equal rights, equal fight. I mean, honestly, he's already RKO'd Nia Jax, so there is precedent there.
She's
Beth Phoenix. And Beth Phoenix.
As well as Beth Phoenix. Yes, that both of those things have happened on WWE television.
She'll get an RKO. Watch.
Recently, it's very possible. And then we got another comment here from our friend Matt Williams. Really hope the title for this one is Sarcasm. LOL, CM Punk is a changed man after one promo. It's a little bit of both, Matt. Don't worry about it. That one's, it's just a title, Matt. It's just a title, but good to see you as always.
It's called clickbait. No, I'm joking. I'm playing.
Exactly. Hey, we're looking for viewers.
Quick question. What do you guys think about the new Raw intro music?
Honestly, you want to hear the funniest part?
Go ahead, Clark.
When I started the show, I fast forwarded through the intro, didn't know that it was a new one.
So
you'll love this. No, you'll love this. So I started at on the West Coast, it starts at 8:00 p.m. Started at 8:05, right? So I was like, oh, fast forward through the intro, immediately start the show. And then the new intro was mentioned and I kind of looked and I was like, oh, no, don't look at your phone because obviously it's taped for the West Coast time if I don't watch it on the East Coast feed at 5:00. So I was like, oh, no, don't look at your phone. The first thing I saw, thankfully, was about the intro. I was like, oh, no, I got to go back and check that out. So I rewound to check it out and I thought it was a new Raw intro.
That's the greatest way to describe it. Honestly, I didn't even know that it was part of the show when I was listening to it because I was literally paying attention to something else. And then I was like, all of a sudden I hear Michael Cole and Corey Graves or Wade Barrett. And I'm like, okay, I guess the show started. I had no idea that there was even a new song.
It's not. It doesn't have that feel. It has less energy than the last one.
I actually kind of dug the last one, but it wasn't my favorite.
Saying. This one is less energetic. It's like
the last one was
in the background
too. Yeah,
it's weird. So they kind of they dropped the ball on that one.
Do you know who the artist is? Who's the artist for this one? Do we know yet or no?
Oh, that is a good question. I
could not be bothered to Shazam it, so I can tell you.
Bring Jim Johnston back.
It wasn't good enough to look up, Brett.
Bring Jim Johnston back. Come on, we need him back.
Oh, we do.
The GOAT.
The goat. I'm not gonna lie though, I actually do like the SmackDown intro.
I do too.
I like for some reason, you know what it feels like is almost something like you would see on just a traditional sporting event, like during the playoffs. That's kind of like what it sounds like. That song that they play going in and out of commercial breaks, right? Like, are you ready?
Well, it's really a good intro too. It's like a good build up. It's like you have scenes where it's breaking up into different. It's just great. When they
found a happy medium because it's not like over the top energetic, but it is very much like a pregame song almost. You know what I mean? They found a nice happy medium for that one. And Bobby Petito added in the comments he likes the NXT intro, which to be honest, I actually don't even know what the
me neither. I don't watch NXT, so
I'm not gonna lie to you. I really liked the Wale one, and that was the only
that was hard.
This is the only thing I liked about NXT 2.0, but the song was good.
I gotta disagree with the Wale thing, but
no, the song was fun. I enjoyed that one. Not the point though. Let's talk about, speaking of things that were pretty fun, the tag team turmoil. tag team turmoil. These things are always interesting because you have the eliminations. DIY looked better than I expected. I didn't expect them to put into share out in the middle of the match. That is not something that I had on my bingo card heading into the tag team turmoil. I did find it interesting that the Alpha Academy was eliminated well before the Creeds entered, because they're basically both telling the same story about how great their wrestling background is. And so keep those two away from each other, at least for now, even though I think that would actually be the most logical and fun matchup. Imperium always looks good as a tag team. I'm glad we have not messed that up as much as Ludwig is gaining steam as a potential singles competitor. Imperium is a blast in my eyes.
I hope they don't mess it up.
I would have preferred that they would have gone with Imperium slightly over the Creed brothers. That's just me, but the Creed brothers did look outstanding throughout this whole thing. Chaos, what were your thoughts on the tag team turmoil? And do you think the Creed brothers are legit contenders to challenge for the undisputed tag team titles?
Yeah, I mean, the Creed brothers have definitely shut it out of the park since they've debuted on the main roster. I'm not gonna lie, when they were in NXT, I didn't really watch them as much. I just know they were part of the Diamond Mine, and there was a lot of hype behind that, and then somehow that fell apart, and then but it was always in the background. I always heard about them. I never really went to see them. But yeah, starting from the beginning, I mean, first off, I'm happy they put a lot of emphasis on the tag team the tag team roster. Division, that's the word I was looking for. Tag team division. I think the fact that it went at 1 hour commercial free, that gave it way more time for them to focus on the tag team division, and they put on a good show. I was surprised by I was surprised by In the Share one, the fact they came out to absolute crickets. And two, that they actually, considering when Vince was in power, they were booked to be unstoppable, like killing machines, and they just got made out to be like pretty much like idiots. in my and then even when they got eliminated, the crowd was still crickets. So that just shows how over they are. I understand that kind of hurt, the fact that they ain't been on TV, that kind of hurts them, but it is what it is. Alpha Academy, I think the reason they got eliminated so early, their work around that is because they had Tozawa there. He's like the goober in Alpha Academy. If it was maybe Gable and Otis, I think people will be more upset about it. But because it was just them two, you can kind of get away with it. But I was happy for DIY to get a better showing than they ever have since they've reunited. So I'm happy for them. But at the end of the day, the right team won. The Creed brothers, clearly Triple H is like red hot on them. And yeah, he wants to strap the rocket to them. So yeah, I'm their favorites clearly to win the tag team titles from Judgment Day anytime soon. And I think that will further become the downfall of Judgment Day, and Priest being the weak link, if you will, and then doing that. But yeah, awesome show, awesome match, and yeah, I'm happy with the ending. And that the not so big one, the lanky one, awesome show. Was it Julius Creed? Awesome.
Yes.
Awesome. Absolutely awesome.
Julius is outstanding. Unfortunately, he did go to Duke University, but that's neither here nor there. I'm a Brutus guy, and the way Brutus crawls up the steps, I think is cool.
That's
cool.
Cool.
Shout out Rashad Evans, John Jones.
I do have one thing to say about this really quick before you go in, Clark.
You're good.
I am not the biggest fan of DIY anymore, and I don't think I have been since NXT.
Oh, main roster, I couldn't agree more. And
because
I think this is even weirder.
And even I was not looking forward to this. I don't want to sound biased towards any wrestler or anything like that, but I did not look forward to the return of Gargano because his gimmick has not changed one bit. And it's just very stale to me. I need more. I need something. That tag team has nothing to offer me, to be honest with you, at this point.
Nostalgia is the only
nostalgia and great wrestling. That's it. No mic work, nothing. The Creed brothers, they're, in my opinion, in that match, they were the most athletic team in that match.
Well, and to your point, the most interesting thing is, and this is where I'm even more confused, because Chaos made an amazing point about Into Share. So it's crickets as they come out, right? Of the two, though, Veer Mahan's the one we know. Veer Mahan at least looked dominant for a while, and it felt like this is what I said to my dad when we were watching together last night, which I felt almost guilty saying out loud, and I don't want to be overly critical, but it felt like the way that was booked, it was like, whoa, of the two in Indus Veer's got more experience, so he can take a roll up, and it was like the sloppiest, slowest roll up ever out of Johnny Wrestling.
Yeah.
Like it looked like Owen Hart being rolled up by Stone Cold with a broken neck.
Literally.
Like it happened. It took 40 seconds for the roll up to even happen. And then he starts flailing when his shoulders are finally on the mat. Like it was bad. Though that part of the match was the sloppiest part, which is sad to me because, I mean, you look at Veer Mahan was a superstar. They made a whole movie about $1 million arm. Guy was drafted by the Pirates. Like this is a big time athlete. Put on a bunch of muscle, went through all the training, looks dominant, well-spoken, smart dude, and stuck in a tag team that's just not being pushed.
Yeah.
And he needs to
And
get
not
rid
only
of them
not being
towels.
pushed, but being put in difficult positions. You know,
they need to get rid of them towels. It's restricting them.
yeah, Veer needs to get upset and start doing that $1 million left arm clothesline. We all knew he used to be able to throw 100 miles an hour. Throw that clothesline 100 miles an hour over and over and over and over again. And there's Umaga stuff.
They need to make noise. They need to make noise. That's what they need to do. And that's what has not been happening. Because to be honest with you, until last night or the last few weeks, I didn't even remember they were still on the roster.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
We got a couple more comments here. We've got numero one Superfly and to share finally did something besides coming to Raw, and that's lose. That's a great call. And then Akira Tozawa and Otis did look great as a tag team from Bobby Petito, which I think we all kind of agree that they did look better than I expected. I mean, I still would expect Otis and Gable to be the primary team, but it doesn't necessarily matter right now because Gable's got a little bit of a singles push as far as the Intercontinental title picture is concerned. And while this doesn't have anything to do with the Intercontinental title picture, let's pivot to the next subject, which is, of course, everyone can make the joke. What do we want to talk about? My favorite person to make fun of, Cody Rhodes, with a promo in a suit in the middle of the ring, just chatting it up with the crowd as if anyone's responding, a monologue disguised as a discussion. And he got the mist in the eyes. He got the Muda mist, the red mist, the poison mist in his eyes. First, though, Nakamura's promos, now that they're doing the subtitles, has changed the game.
Yes.
This needed to happen 4 years ago. What have we been doing all this time? I can only picture somebody
I was just gonna say that
in like a conference room was like, have you guys thought, like, what if we just did subtitles?
No.
And everyone was like, no. Then like 6 months later, it was like, you know what? Maybe we try the subtitles.
I don't think it's that. I think it's more of an anime type of like esque feel.
It's genius.
They're doing a really good job at it. And I think this is the story that Chaos, I know I'm gonna give you all the time in the world, but trust me.
Well,
but
by the way,
I do think
this one's your topic, Brad. I was going to toss it to you.
All right, sorry, my bad.
No,
anyway.
you're totally good to go. No.
So anyway, I think that I honestly think that Nakamura is doing the best stuff that he's been doing in his entire career while he's been in WWE right now. Besides when he was in NXT coming up to WWE, obviously that was an amazing run. We all remember that. I do believe right now that what they're doing and what he's doing is what he originally had planned or had in mind to do in the beginning when he first came in as a wrestler from Japan on the indie scene or in New Japan Wrestling. So I think that this is the ultimate character that he wanted to take on this entire time. I just think that the writing team who was in charge, like Chaos pointed out, Vince, didn't really hone in on this because they didn't understand his product as much. And his product, he's not the best at speaking English, and putting subtitles underneath it made a world of a difference, but it's those promo packages as well that are making a world of a difference. And like I said before, it's almost like an anime superhero-esque like villain that he's coming out and he's just like wreaking havoc, and it's amazing.
I agree. And then the red lighting and like the little bit of the eeriness of like where he's hanging out backstage. And the other thing that's interesting to me in anime, you've compared it to multiple times, and I agree on this. I haven't watched a ton of anime, but
Me either.
the cadence of speech when he's speaking Japanese, I've watched a lot of kung fu movies, right? And I've watched a lot of martial arts movies and listened to, Japanese commentary on pride fighting in New Japan for years, right? The cadences in which he's slowing down to speak the Japanese as the subtitles, it brings another layer
to
the character where it's like it's menacing in a way it hasn't felt since maybe when he finally turned on AJ Styles.
Yeah,
I would say.
And also it's bringing Chaos is you right after this, I promise. But I think he's bringing demographics together, slowing it down, letting kids read. Kids that are not used to a Nakamura, they're now reading what Nakamura is saying.
Yep.
And it's also bridging a gap between an older generation and a younger generation when it comes to kids who like anime, like we just talked about, or older people who like anime. And now they're coming together and they're meeting in the middle.
Even on top of that, the simplicity of just, it feels like a full reintroduction of a guy we've always known was this talented, right? Especially to newer audiences. If you didn't see the Nakamura when I would imagine all three of us complained about, how Nakamura has been used since he's been signed, given his legendary history, right? It's almost like a reintroduction in a way. You remember just how good he can be. I mean, even my dad I was laughing last night, the quote of the century. He was like, honestly, that was like a pretty good spit on the miss to get it the whole face. It's like, sometimes they miss. He's someone who's good. He's really firing on all cylinders.
He's good at the miss. Asuka's not so good. I don't like Asuka's miss. Tajiri was always great at the mist. But I think that this is like more of a Muda.
Muda shout out. I think the red is telling of that.
Exactly.
I think that's directly linked to Muda. You have Julia Hart using the black mist, and I actually think she's doing a good job with that. Not even trying to change the subject because we have to go to the next one, but still, like, right, there's a lot of mist use in wrestling right now, but I like the Muda, and I love the dripping of the red on the chin as he was staring him down, as he was kind of writhing in pain. I thought that was an awesome visual. With that though, let's talk about Chelsea Green and Piper Niven. No, I'm kidding. No, that's after that. We are eventually going to do that. We're going to talk about Seth Rollins in the world title picture and Drew McIntyre first. We're talking Seth Rollins. Seth acknowledged, no pun intended, CM Punk, not Roman Reigns. He acknowledged the CM Punk chants during his own promo. That not something I expected. Not in the least. The interruption from Drew McIntyre, I thought was excellent. The new Drew McIntyre aesthetic, I think, is awesome. I do think he's truly still a tweener. He did high five fans. We've talked a lot about the crowd interaction during entrances thus far. And yeah, he still high fived some fans, even in the new black kilt. But McIntyre was vicious. He obviously attacked Rollins. To me, this is the logical next matchup. Punk is down the road. I'm excited for it. I'm excited to see what happens here for Drew. Did I think it was necessary that they dyed his hair pitch black and gave him a full mullet? Maybe not. But that's not the point. That's neither here nor there, Chaos. The point is, I want to know what you think about McIntyre and Rollins for the world title. And is there any chance Seth loses this one?
No. Simple. No, he's not going to lose it. But for some reason, I feel like it's not going to be. I think McIntyre will somehow factor himself in there, but I think ideally, I think it's going to go back again to Jay. Drew McIntyre's focus is going to be on Jay. He kind of got him in War Games. The only thing is that he lost. He teased the possible facing. Sure, he was shaking hands and stuff, but he's still a heel. He just obviously just suckered everyone in. He suckered me in because I was surprised that he was like handshaking kids' hands and all that stuff, and then he was saying that Seth was right and everything. And yeah, you thought he was going to turn a new leaf. He was going to do a big show thing, go back face heel, all that stuff. But yeah, you really thought he was going to be a face. And then as soon as Seth said, the next person in line is not going to be you. It's going to be Jay. Instantly, it was just like, nah, darkness, just clouded over his eyes. And he headbutted Seth so hard that not only was bleeding, his kilt fell off. And he basically looked like there's a bulked up version of Shawn Michaels back in '97. We know when he came out, I think it was like wearing the ref shirt and he had like the Speedos and he came out with the wrestler boots. Yeah, that's what it looked like. It was it was a different look. It was an interesting look to see on McIntyre. But yeah, I think ultimately this is gonna be centered mainly around Jey Uso, and who knows, they might do a triple threat with Jay, Seth, and Drew. But I think definitely the main is he's not gonna put Jey Uso in the back burner. Just Drew was just trying to cut himself in front of the line, and yeah, he just wasn't having it. And I don't think he's next. But the promo itself was good. Nice little he suckered everyone in. This is something that I'm sorry, I keep on saying it, but like under the old regime, you would not get this. This is perfect character work. He suckers you in, and then he said, "Nah, I'm back into my old ways." And then now he sets up a match against Sammy, just because Sammy tried to put him in his place, so he just started trying to talk to him. So yeah, it's definitely not a tweener. He's definitely a full-blown heel, and I'm here for it. I'm loving the work that Drew McIntyre is doing. I'm very curious to see why did he storm out from Survivor Series? They haven't said nothing about that, but maybe they may have been nothing to that. But yeah, either way, I'm here for it. Awesome promo.
I'm with you, and I love the way you broke that down, and I'm really glad you did too, because it was very much as soon as Jey Uso was spoken his name, that's when Drew snapped. Yeah. It was so clear, and the way that was played out was kind of overshadowed by other segments on the show. I think it was awesome. And I was going to show these comments too. By the way, we have first and foremost, we got Bobby Petito with Jey Uso will be a great opponent for Seth Rollins. I agree. Triple threat, Chaos's idea, though. I think there is definitely something to be unpacked there. We've got another comment though from Simon Hughes, which is stumbled upon to the show. Good work, guys. We really appreciate that, Simon. Thank you so much. And then Chaos's assistant over in the comments, thanking Simon as well.
Thank you. definitely.
But seriously, thank you, Simon. We really appreciate you tuning in.
I will also say, sorry, going back to the match as well. Obviously, Jay and Seth is facing each other for the title next week. Drew's definitely going to be interfering in that. He's going to cost Jay the match, 100%.
I totally agree. I totally agree with that.
Really quick, this sets up Money in the Bank perfectly.
Ooh, that is wow. Now we're talking wild card stuff.
Because you don't have a main story that you're attaching to a championship belt, and you can interject Priest now.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Okay, with that, we're a little short on time. So, Brett,
I'm
going to toss it to you really quick, though. We actually really are going to talk about
I'm going to be
Piper Niven, anyway. Natalia, Neidhart, and Tegan Knox match. It was. They had that match last night, and it's in the topics. Ben, I appreciate you for putting this in the topics, but Brett, what did you think of the match?
Okay, first off, I'm going to start off with the teammates that we have, right? Tegan Knox should not be matched with Natalia whatsoever. I don't think so. Like, I just don't like that team at all. I said my thoughts on Natalia. I have nothing against her. I just think that she needs to be a trainer at this point. Now, Piper Niven, good for her, honestly. She's doing great, and she's honestly looking good in the ring. I think it was an okay match. I think Chelsea Green did her job being Chelsea Green. You know who that is. But I just think it was a regular everyday women's match that was retained by the champions, like that we're used to seeing. It's just Piper Niven looked very good to me in that match for some reason.
Absolutely. No, I think Piper's underrated and has been for a long time, or as our good friend Ben, who shout out Ben, all love, calls her Pipper Niven, but that's neither here nor there. But I think she's an excellent talent, and I think she's always been great on the show.
Yeah.
Especially since she's been called up. And then Matt, that's a funny comment, but no curse words in the comments, buddy. All love. But let's get on to our main event of the evening, my friends. We have the CM Punk promo, what everyone has been waiting for. We have Mr. Chicago made Punk in Nashville in a fresh WWE branded CM Punk t-shirt, basically the same ones we've been wearing for all 7-9 years. I don't do math, guys. I gave math up a long time ago. Dang, was this wild. CM Punk holding a mic on Monday Night Raw.
A live
Did
mic.
not see that coming. That is not something I expected. Although I will say, after what we saw in AEW, and I'm not trying to make this segment controversial, did it not feel like the I'm home promo that we got at Rampage, the I'm home promo we got on Collision?
Yep.
It was a lot of asking questions. And then I was like, I didn't really have time to answer them, and he'd be talking about something else. And man, I've always loved CM Punk. And boy, is his personality infectious. There's no doubt about it. You talk about someone that moves the needle. I think he's got like more than one needle. I think he's throwing like he's playing darts, and everyone else is trying to move needles. You know, he causes people to talk about him. He doesn't have to talk for people to talk about him. It's something unique to this wrestling industry that I've almost never seen before. I really did enjoy the promo. I thought he did an excellent job. Has he changed? I understand that's definitely the title of this broadcast here. Has he changed? That sounds like a lot of conjecture. I'm not really sure if people change that quickly. I think in relation to maybe the public perception, he's had a change of heart on how he has decided to go about his role in the professional wrestling business. Maybe that's possible, but changed, not totally sure. He might be a little bit more motivated. Sometimes that can happen when you have something like being released from a job, being let go. You find a little bit more motivation to be a little bit more calculated in your behavior. I could see that, but changed seems like a bit of a reach. Either way, I'm still a CM Punk fan, and it was fun to see him on TV. I every single time there's a chance that we never see him again, I'm the first one that's like, well, dang, I was just happy to have him back a couple years ago, and I would like to see the guy play it out. And we did miss 7 years, I believe, of one of the most talented wrestlers that I've seen in my lifetime. With that, though, I'm going to toss this one to you first, Bret. I know you are not a big CM Punk guy. What were your thoughts on his initial promo? What do you think his first maybe rivalry storyline is going to be? It does feel like, everyone is seeing Seth Rollins in the future, but clearly not right away, given that Seth is in this program with Jay and also now McIntyre. Where do you think he goes first? Maybe who do you think he wrestles first?
That's a really good question, honestly. And I don't know maybe who he necessarily wrestles first. I'll get back to that at the end. Do I think CM Punk has changed? Nope. I don't think he's changed one bit. The only thing that's changed CM Punk is that he is not in control of his own, what he says on the microphone anymore. That's the only thing that has changed. He's not in control. And unfortunately, at the end of his segment, he said he's not here to make friends. He's here for the money. Proves it right there. He is not changed. He is the same person. Selfish CM Punk. I don't hate the guy. I think he's great for the business because he creates a lot of hysteria and all this talk around him. But I just feel like he is toxic and something's going to happen in the locker room if it hasn't already. But by saying that, I think we're going to have for the first few weeks, I guess for the first few weeks that he's in the company or the next few weeks coming up, I think it's going to be like you just said, like a repeat of the Collision. Oh, we're going to hear from CM Punk. We're going to hear from CM Punk. I think it's going to be like on Raw tonight, we'll hear from CM Punk. We thought we were hearing from in the first hour last night. We heard him from in the last 3 minutes. Like this is like the program was good last night. But it's just like, I want more. And I also think his first opponent, Seth's going to have an opponent before CM Punk, but I do think that his first opponent will be Seth.
I like that. I do personally just slightly feel like he's got to get one out of the way first.
I agree too. I do agree with that too.
I was kind of thinking a first one that would be just like fun and unique, kind of out of nowhere, somebody maybe we haven't seen. And I thought a fun one for that would be like if you had maybe almost even Dragon Lee. I get he's on SmackDown, but just somebody that he can wrestle in a
Yeah, but-
match and win and hit all the high spots. The other guy can carry the athleticism, because I think back to the way that Darby, like I don't even really know the list on the Raw roster, unfortunately, that I would go with. Not that I don't know the Raw roster, but there's just not somebody there that like sticks out in that sense. Dragon Lee would make sense because I look back to the Darby match, his return at All Out after all that time, way back. Darby really carried that match athletically. Punk hit all the high spots. It was beautiful. Everything landed and the match looked amazing, right? When Punk has to carry the load, it's more difficult. If you're going to go toe-to-toe with Seth Rollins out of the gates, remember, he really still hasn't wrestled since Samoa Joe. And that's a different style match anyway. And it's been some time. He hasn't been in the ring. And that's where I think he's got to get in there with somebody. I don't necessarily know who.
You know
But
who he would look great against? Like he would look great against this person, JT McDonough.
It's a great call. JT McDonough might be the call.
He would look good against
Yes.
him, because JT McDonough, to me, like, he's great in the ring, but he doesn't look great in the ring, and Punk would be able to amplify that. You know what I mean?
Yes. No, that is an outstanding call. Chaos, I want to get your thoughts on the promo itself too. And who do you think Punk's first opponent is, either on the way to Seth Rollins, or is it also Seth Rollins?
Well, yeah, again, there's a lot to unpack on this. Funny enough, myself, David Sheldon, Soul, and Drizzy, we all did a brief video on CM Punk, and obviously who we would like to see as well. The Take It to the Tape episode is coming out about probably a couple hours after this, after the daily, so be sure to check the Wrestling Republic channel on that. But yeah, we did think that in terms of the promo, it was fine. It was definitely the first dance, the WWE's version of the first dance promo. It was nicened up. You could see that he was careful with his words. Obviously, he definitely doesn't have that much leeway. He kind of does and he kind of doesn't. But the fact that obviously everyone was waiting for him to say some subliminal lines about the other company and whatnot. But the fact that if the owner of AEW can't say anything, because he said in an interview that he can't legally talk about it, what makes you think Punk is going to do something? Like, you know, and WWE is not the kind of place you would want to try and test the waters with that, if you will. He just got in. Like, he's not going to go guns blazing, unfortunately. Not yet, anyway. Leave that to maybe Seth to probably mention something about it. But yeah, it was okay. I think definitely is he going to be all goody two shoes? Hell no, because in his own promo, he pretty much contradicted himself completely. During the whole thing, he was saying, you know, everyone was greeting him in the back, open arms, all that stuff. I'm here, I'm home, all this stuff. And then right in the camera, he didn't make the crowds hear it. He basically said, yeah, I'm not here to make friends. I'm here to make money. That just contradicts the whole thing you just spewed just a minute ago. Yeah, hopefully when he does get his hands on Seth, he might obviously bring that back as well, saying like, look what you said here. Now in terms of the first match, I'd be very curious to see how they would keep this. If the plan is for Rollins and Seth at Mania, which I'm here for, that would be great. It's going to be very tricky to keep that momentum, that heat on that kind of storyline for the next 3-4 months up until Mania. The only way you could possibly do that is to keep him off from wrestling. I think right now, since he's there, he is the perfect person to win the Rumble. He's definitely the perfect person to win the Rumble. But yeah, if you want to get my thoughts on the rest of that, go and check out the next episode of Take It to the Table, and we'll dissect into that as well. Yeah, I know we're running short on time.
No, you're totally good, and please do go check out that episode of Take It to the Table, because I love the idea of potentially winning the Rumble. I think that's fun. I also think another thing that I would add is I think it was extremely telling he did not do any stage dives.
Yes, he knows right? His lane.
He's
kind of hard to do that there.
He's in WWE. Hard. He got his 2 babyface pops this week. Mm-hmm. I'm relatively confident we're getting heel Punk. which
Yeah,
is
100%.
really exciting for me because I actually think that's his wheelhouse. And in a weird way,
He doesn't
I
have
think
control over the
serendipitous wise, he was stuck in a spot where he was the second best heel for the first time in his career in a company behind MJF. And it's better not being on the roster as a heel for him because there's an argument to be made that he can be the best heel on a WWE roster that's split. I think that is something that caused some issues on top of the other issues outside. For the first time ever, because he had to play a babyface as often as possible, and then he became a tweener because of what happened in the news cycle, not what happened on screen. And that threw some things. This is a much more controlled environment that he's in now, and that truly does change the dynamic, I think, both character-wise and for his own trajectory. First opponent-wise, I have no idea. But with that does bring us to the end of the show, everybody. Thank you so much for tuning in. Give us a thumbs up and subscribe if you already haven't. It means the world to us. If you don't follow us, please do. If you don't watch Take It to the Table, what are you doing? Watch Take It to the Table. New episode coming soon. On behalf of Bret, Chaos, Clark Taylor, happy Tuesday, everybody. Thank you for tuning in, and we'll see everyone soon. Same time, same place tomorrow. That's noon Pacific, 3 Eastern, 6 or 8 in the UK, and that's 9 a.m. Hawaiian.
There you
Everybody
go.
have a good one. We will talk soon.
Yeet.